Ladies and gentlemen, we present you one more exciting panel discussion: fast loan origination and easy collections. How incremental changes get you to the top. With Mr. Florentino Villa, Head of Business Intelligence and Value Management from RAFI, and Mr. James Muli, CEO of Jirani Smart.
Hello everyone, welcome to our next panel. I'd like to introduce you to our panelists. So we have here Flo Villa, who is the Head of Business Intelligence and Value Management of RAFI out of the Philippines. Welcome again, Flo.
Hi, Julian. Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here and, be part of this summit. Looking forward.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And then we also have James Muli, who's the CEO of Jirani Smart out of Kenya. Welcome, James.
Hello, everyone. My name is James Muli from Kenya, and thank you for being here.
Great. Okay, let's jump right into it. So Flo, with RAFI, to give a bit of background, you guys completed a major implementation across hundreds of branches last summer in the middle of the pandemic. But you didn't stop there. So once you went live, what were the big projects you basically had to improve how you work and how you serve your clients?
Well, it was really let me say it was a wonderful experience though we started our digital transformation in 2018 or 2017, and it has been 3 years since we implemented a lot of systems and applications and achieved significant milestones in digital transformation. And it was really kind of challenging also because the COVID pandemic triggered a lot of changes, not just in technology, but also in our culture, in the way we work and in the way we operate our business. But with the lockdown and with the slow business going on during the pandemic, we took it as an advantage also to strengthen our back end and to implement expeditedly and as fast as we can those projects that were ongoing at that time. And one of that is the core banking system, or the InstaFin. And it was really a good implementation because we didn't disturb a lot in our operations, but at the same time we also had a lot of learnings that surfaced after the implementation because it was because of the things that were brought about by COVID pandemic, such that how can we make sure how do we make sure the safety of our employees while we continue our operations, right? As well as how do we make sure the safety of our clients in having business with us. So we looked into different opportunities around how can we remove non-value adding processes in our front end, how can we further strengthen our back end processes and limit that face-to-face contacts. So those were some of the changes or initiatives that we embarked on even after we implemented InstaFin.
Okay, and taking the pandemic aside, what do you feel are some of the changes you have implemented which really give you like sustainable advantage for how you serve your clients?
Well, taking the pandemic aside, it was really having a very reliable and strong back-end processes. Because again, when COVID happened, or even without COVID, what we really envision is that how we can limit non-value adding processes or customer-facing processes. And one of the strategies for that is to do something in the backend, because most of these processes will be moved to the backend. And that's when we made sure that we have a scalable, reliable, and flexible core banking system. And I think one of the advantage that we have is that because we already have a stable backend and a stable core system, we were able to play around certain modalities and channels and certain applications that could expedite or automate other processes. So it allowed us to be more agile, wherein we tested a lot. We did a lot of experimentation as to what would work, and we were able to do things fast and cheap, and also allowed us to fail fast but learn fast. So I think the advantage really is having a very strong core system that is not easy to, that is flexible enough, but strong enough that would accommodate us to have more integrations with, applications that could potentially help us in our operations, and doing a lot of innovation garage along the way. So I think that's it, Julian, where we can play around certain experimentations because we are not afraid that our core will, will break, for example.
And can you give us insight into maybe an example on what kind of experiments you have been running and to solve what kind of problems?
Okay, well, we've done a couple of things around having different channels, especially for loans applications and loan originations. We've also played around putting up cash flow analysis and credit scoring automations, as well as different ways of doing the collections and disbursement, where we have partnered with different local companies and vendors, so that we can disburse money cashless. So that's where we partnered with different remittance companies as well as fintech. We partnered also with different organizations that would allow us to have a faster loans originations from applications to credit evaluation. And these are not something that we immediately adopted. We've done some pilot or some experimentations, like putting in this platform for just around one branch or 100 clients, and let's see what will happen. We tried putting up, what if we disburse money through a fintech, and then for 100 clients, and tested that. We also tested the same concept with another provider so that we would know which provider will work better, even if they have totally the same platform or same, in context, they have this more likely the same platform, but different brands, for example. So those were the things actually. So during the pandemic, we've done a lot of experimentations around disbursement channel and collections channel, and as well as part of loans origination that covers from application to credit evaluation.
Okay, thank you. Now, James, Jirani has been hugely successful within the market. You have been growing greatly over the last couple of years. I'm really curious to hear what the latest things that you have come up with and how you have been working on constantly improving since basically the system went live as a new basis, and how you're building on top of that.
Yeah, basically we were incorporated in 2016, and then we started operating in coastal region in Kenya, and we started with another system that served that for 1.5 years up to 2017. Then 2018 we knew Instafin from connections from friends, and then we took it, and then we worked for like 2 months to do the implementation, and then after implementing we continued moving, and then doing a lot of modifications to ensure that it fits the way we want to operate, because every company operates its own way, because every idea is different from company to company. So we had to ensure that it is modified as much as possible. We had so many modifications to ensure that it fits exactly the way we wanted, which was very successful up to 2020 when the pandemic came. So when the pandemic came, obviously we were doing receipting with papers and the physical receipts. And when the pandemic came, it was obvious that everyone should not be, it should change and go digital. You shouldn't keep on operating with papers. Then we talked to Instafin, Radian, and then within 7 days we started implementing the IFA, InstaFin field officer application, which was successful within 7 days because we worked day and night. And then we are so happy and things were moving very easily. Every officer could post their collections and their payments from anywhere they are in the country. And that gave us some good boost. Everyone was in panic, so it was very difficult to make decisions. But with InstaFin, it was very easy because we were able to get that. After getting that, we went for like several months. Then we decided to start doing messaging. Then we went to messaging, which was very good. Every client could get their loan applications online, and they would get their messages from wherever they are in any network, whether Safaricom or Airtel or whichever network. So that is what we've been able to do up to now.
And on the messaging, like, what's the feedback you're getting from your clients?
Clients are happy because we are very transparent, of course. I would feel happy when I make my payments from the field because we do group lending. So the officer goes to the group and then they do their collections and then the officer posts on their smartphone. And the clients are feeling so happy because we are very transparent. They will get in a message from the office and from head office that your payment has been received. And they now feel happy because the passbooks you can fill, and then the officer might even post to the wrong person or post to someone else other than me. So they feel so happy because we are very transparent. When a client makes an order, they make a loan application, they get a message that your loan application has been received, your loan application has been approved, your loan application has been disbursed, and everything. Your loan is in arrears of how much they see the amount, and they're feeling so happy because they feel like they are connected to us directly.
Okay, thank you. Now, Flo, back to you. You talked about this trial and error approach, which is for an institution like RAFI, who's in the market since many decades, actually, is quite innovative, right? It's more what we know from young companies, from startups. So how are you managing to push through this iterative approach internally, and both operationally as well as technically?
Well, as what I said earlier, the COVID or the pandemic triggered a lot of changes, even in the way we think. And as the saying goes, it's either we change or we perish, right? And we see significance in doing things perfectly the first time. But because of probably learnings from COVID pandemic, we have to be gracious in ourselves also. We have to be compassionate on ourselves and be open to a lot of failures and open to the reality that we can fail fast, but we can also learn fast. And if we learn fast, we'll be able to, get the right mix and get the right component to making it successful. So I think it's one of the things that was brought about by COVID is to have that grace where we were allowed to fail a little bit in our trial and error. And also, had it been, because if there wasn't any COVID at all, we would have done things, ideally, where we want to do things right the first time, right? We want to make sure that all the risk management are there. We want to make sure that the plans are solid, and all of the issues and probably possible issues later on will be covered and anticipated right away. But due to the unprecedented situation, it also opened up a lot of realizations that, hey, we gotta have to be open with a lot of failures. And I think that's when we started really to fully adopt the agile thinking of doing it fast, doing it cheap, learning fast. Failure will always be a significant component in the journey. So I think those were some of the things that allowed us to go with a lot of trials and errors, a lot of what I would say innovation garage.
Okay, great. And what role do you think all the heavy lifting you guys did last year in terms of implementing a stable platform and really having a source of truth for your data, like what role has that stability at the very foundation of the organization played to then experiment beyond that for all these auxiliary processes?
Well, that's what I said earlier, that as long as you are confident that your core and the entire back end as well, you know, the most core part of your operations is safe, is unbreakable, is solid, it's but also at the same time flexible and scalable. There's really that's really something that you shouldn't be scared about going with a lot of innovation garage and, you know, experimentation, because you're safe, and because you know that, you know, you can always go into several testing, trial and errors, but you know that your operations can sustain, and because of it, the strength of the entire core systems and the strength of the entire back end processes, right? So I think that's that. I remember that when we were talking, when I was talking with you, you know, 2 years ago, right, when before we implemented and stuff, and one of the things that I said, and even to Antonio, that our goal is really to make sure that we have a strong core system, flexible and scalable, such that we can do things around it, where we can do a lot of, you know, innovation, experimentations, testing the waters with available platforms and solutions that we feel that would potentially help RAFI, but at the same time, you know, propel the vision or the mission we have for the organization. And I think that's what we have realized last year when we implemented the, you know, the core banking system, coming from a system that wasn't really flexible enough, or that was really so unreliable, because every now and then, you know, we get downtime, we get a lot of issues. So whereas right now we are confident that super operations can go on, can sustain, and there's less problem for us managing the core, right? No, you know, less focus or less effort in doing what is in the core processes. So we have more time now to do a lot of, you know, other stuff in terms of innovation.
Okay, great. Now, James, you mentioned a bit earlier that you within 7 days, which is quite phenomenal, managed to basically roll out to everyone in the organization the field officer app. Can you just give the audience a bit of color on how did these operations look like before you did this implementation, and then how did they change, and what are the business improvements you were able to gain from that?
So basically, we are doing paperwork. There was a lot of paperwork that was supposed to be done, because transporting papers from receipts and the loan applications from branches to head office is very hectic, and there are a lot of delays in the transportation because of obviously the transport system. So before we did that, it used to take like 3 days before a client's payment is posted in the system. And that means that the information that we have in the system is not real time. And that also means that the loan processing and everything will be slower. But right now, after the implementation, we are able to get a client's loan application within 30 seconds from the field, not even from the office. The officer does not really have to go back to the office. From the field, seated with the client, they are able to make the loan application and is able to reach us in 30 seconds. And again, the client is able to post the client payments instantly. And within 5 minutes from after the payment, the payment is already in the system, and everything is working perfectly. So if a client wants to clear the loan and apply a new loan, that can be done in 2 minutes. And that makes the speed of customer service to be very good. And clients are extremely happy, because now we moved from a lot of paperwork, sign here and sign there and sign here, and then package the papers and do the tracking, then give to the courier guy, and the courier guy transport them to the next courier region, and then they collect in a region, then the entire region sends to the office. It's a long process. So it used to be a long process and very expensive, because of course, transporting papers from 40 branches is not an easy thing every single day for a whole month. It was very costly, and it was time consuming. And then often some of the papers would get misplaced, and some loan applications would also get misplaced. And in case a loan application is not approved and you need to review it and maybe make the loan maybe smaller, the loan amount smaller, maybe that will also take another 7 days to turn back the application and they apply again. But now with with the new changes and the new implementations, we're able to do that perfectly. So in case something is disapproved, you can apply again, and within 30 seconds, the application is again in the office. So for me, the biggest improvement was the timing, because of course in business, everyone wants to get the service very fast. Even if you sit in a coffee shop, you want to be given your tea or your coffee very fast. Even if you're not in a hurry to go anywhere, but you want it fast. You don't want somebody to waste your time. So even if the client does not want the loan so fast, you are able to give it with them, let them do whatever they want to do with it. But we give them very fast. So clients are able to get their loans approved in 12 hours, because we work 24 hours. During the day, there's some team during the day, and the team at night, because loan applications flow to our office even in the midnight. Anytime a client applies, the officer is able to post it, and then they get it. And then within 24 hours, the loan is already approved and it's already disbursed, and the client has whatever they wanted. And they are very happy. I am so happy about the speed. And the client is also able to track everything, the movement. It's approved, they get an SMS, it's approved, it's not disbursed, I get an SMS. I am so much connected to the company as a client, so much, because they are involving me in everything. They even telling me that loan application has been received, the loan application has been created, the loan application has been approved, it has been disbursed, so they can know, not just a matter of making calls to the field officer, what is happening and all that. No, the system will send to you a message, whatever we do, the client will know. And I'm so happy about that.
And how is that differentiating you from the competition in the market? How are the customers recognizing this?
Customers are recognizing that because number one, not every company has messaging. By the way, it's only big banks that have that constant communication with the client. Even the marketing, even the greetings themselves, that it's a Merry Christmas or Happy Easter. Not every company has that. And not every company, very few microfinances have that communication, the messaging part. And the others make loan applications, and most of them are disbursed within 14 days or 21 days. Others even tell you that after the loan application, you'll be able to get your loan the next meeting, the next month. So it will take 30 days for your loan to be approved and disbursed to you. But for us, it's very fast. So a client will have very minimal complaints, because they already know it has been disapproved. Disapproved, why? They will get an answer why it has been disapproved. So they know what they will be able to do. The recommendation is there with them. So other companies are so analog that you have to make the application physically, then sign physically, and then it's carried physically to head office, then disapproved, returned to the officer with recommendations, and then the whole process takes a month, and it's very boring. Nowadays, no one wants things to be so slow. So the customers are very happy, and I can testify that we are among the best companies in customer service. And then in case there's any problem or any hiccup, the clients are able to call us 24 hours, because the customer care desk is in the office 24 hours. And again, for Instafin also, I can call anytime in the middle of the night and say something is hanging, something is not working properly, or there's something I'm trying to check and I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? And Philip and the team are always there every day, every time. And that is what has kept us there in Instafin. We can't divorce.
You still have the traditional group meetings, but people don't bring cash. People actually in the meeting pay with their mobile phone through the mobile money.
Yeah. Yes. So they meet and then they have their money in their mobile phone. So all they do is bank using their mobile phone to the payment, to the mobile payment service. Then the officer posts. So what we want to eliminate is the officer doing something, even the posting. It will be posted. We want it to be integrated that the client pays, it is posted directly instantly. And then the client will also get an SMS that your payment has been received and your loan balance has been adjusted.
Yeah. So that sounds like you were able to really kick out cash completely from all your operations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to echo the same sentiments with what James said about IFOA, because had it been, because if we didn't implement Instafin as well as IFOA, last year, would it be very, very even more difficult for us to continue with our operations in the middle of the lockdown, right? With people getting scared, meeting somebody and all, it wouldn't really be possible for us to continue with our operations because our previous processes were, a lot of them were manual, and a lot of them relied on face-to-face and physical interactions with our clients, even as simple as collections and getting the application. So I really echo the same sentiment and the same feedback with regards to our experience, where during the pandemic we already had the InstaFin and the IFOA, and it made it a little bit easy, not totally easy, but it eased probably the challenge and the struggles brought about by the lockdown and COVID-19.
Flo, another exciting topic, loan origination. You mentioned that you're doing trial and error and so forth. Like, if someone is new to the topic, what are the different aspects and third-party solutions or types of integrations which are interesting to explore to really go from maybe a manual loan origination to something more automated and more sophisticated in terms of client assessment and scoring?
Well, for the people we have in the Philippines, a lot of new and emerging technologies are really, really good, but it's kind of hard to apply in our setting, considering that most of our clients and most of the people, especially in the rural sides, are still relying on cash. It's still a cash-based economy, and at the same time, the unavailability of significant data, like not having a valid ID, no proof of billings and all. So these are really these really are very challenging for us to apply even the advanced kind of technology right now. So in terms of loans originations, we're looking at specifically when it comes to loan application channel and credit evaluation, because the other parts of loans originations can already be covered by what we have right now with IFOA and with InstaFin, right? So that's where the challenge is right now. We have to identify, we're still actually testing what's the appropriate channel for our clients to do loan application, right? There are a lot of systems right now and a lot of platforms that we can utilize right away. Same with messaging, or same with communications, a lot of available communications platform. But while systems and applications make it possible, it will always be people that will make it happen. So without full understanding of our clients' maturity and readiness for certain innovations, we wouldn't really be able to drive adoption and utilization, and we would ended up just wasting resources. So we're in that aspect of exploring what is more fit for our customer base and clients, and in terms of customer experience as to the kind of loan application channel that we can have. And in terms of credit evaluations, of course, other organizations are already using proxy data like SMS or credit histories, or even payment or utility bills and all. These are something that are still that is still a challenge for us to utilize, considering that most of our clients even do not even have a valid ID right now. So I think, but this is something that we can't stop from exploring and experimenting, right? So we're going towards using traditional methods and traditional data science models for our credit evaluation. We're also looking at what are the other proxy data and different types of data where we can use. And so going back to your question earlier, with regards to the next thing for us in our roadmap, but those are immediate actually, where we can deploy specific solutions or client-facing solutions, because that will protect both our staff and our clients, right, from the current safety and danger of COVID-19, safety and from the danger of COVID-19. that will ensure safety and of our clients and our staff. But we also have a good amount of data just sitting here, and we want to make use of it. We want to make use of our available information and available data to further our digital transformation journey and to create more opportunity to eliminate non-value adding processes. And so that's where I am right now with the team, looking at how we can make use of our data to support the digital transformation and to support certain automations.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So I think we're out of time. Thank you so much, James. Thank you so much, Flo. Interesting to chat as always, and hope to see you soon again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Julian. Thanks, James. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, team, for the discussion. It was very healthy and very informative. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, guys.